Hello, boys and girls. We are continuing with topic 16, lesson 7 today. We've been focusing a lot on angles and different types of lines and measurements and all those kinds of things. And we're going to continue to focus on those things, but we're going to look to see what other types of shapes those different lines, segments, and rays can make. So we've been focusing a lot on angles, and those are created by two rays that meet at the same endpoint. We are going to continue to use that knowledge, but we're going to focus on how different types of polygons or shapes are made out of different line segments, which, if you remember, the line segments do not continue. They start at one endpoint and end at another endpoint. And we're going to talk about where those lines meet, what they're called, and the different shapes that you're going to be encountering. So a polygon is a closed plane figure that is made up of different line segments. The biggest thing to remember with a polygon is that it is all straight sides. It cannot have a curved side. So a circle, for example, is not a polygon. Okay? Each line segment, as I'm going through the definitions on our screen here, each line segment, so if I was looking at this right here, is a side. That would be my line segment. Technically, this would be an endpoint. This would be an endpoint. This would be another line segment with an endpoint. Another line segment with an endpoint. Another line segment with an endpoint. And another one, okay? And those are called sides. Now, where those two sides meet, and I purposely put those endpoints in as I was going around. So wherever I have a dot or an endpoint, it's called a vertex, okay? And that's where our angles then form in our different shapes, okay? But that is what we call a vertex, where those two sides meet at an endpoint. The vertices and the vertices and the sides usually go hand in hand with the number of sides that are on that shape. So up on the top, you see some vocabulary that I'm sure you've noticed while you've been listening. We have triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon, octagon. We're going to be looking at the different types of shapes and how they're classified into their names based on how many sides they have and how many vertices they have. Okay, so let's take a look at our next slide and we'll look at some examples. So here on this slide, we'll start with our triangle. This is the one you probably are the most familiar with. Triangles have three sides, so 1, 2, 3. They have 3 vertices, or where those lines meet. Okay, so that's the other thing we're going to be adding to this, okay? And if you notice, that number stayed the same. Our next shape is a quadrilateral, which is the next thing you're probably the most familiar with if you think of squares or rectangles. A quad means 4, tri means 3 for the triangle. So quad means 4. And that means if I trace, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and I have 4 endpoints or 4 vertices. Okay? I'm going to put 4V for that. Okay? Then we have our pentagon. Our pent means 5. So if I was to count the sides, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And where each of those 5 sides meet, we have a vertex. And because I have 5 sides, I will have 5 vertices. Then we have our hexagon. Okay, our hexagon, hex means 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and if I go and count my vertices, that's 4, 5, 6. Okay, the last one we're going to look at for today is our octagon. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And where all of those lines meet is a vertex. And I will have 8 vertices. An oct means 8 if you think of an octopus. An octopus has 8 legs. So that is what you're going to be doing in your practice problems tonight, is classifying what the shapes are based on the number of sides and vertices that they have. So if I drew, even if I drew something like this, okay, I know it's not perfect, But let's say I drew that shape. I could say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's an 8-sided figure. It may not look just like that octagon, but because it has 8 sides, it would be an octagon. Okay. I could draw something like this and count it and say I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. This would be classified as a quadrilateral, but this is also known as a trapezoid. Okay, so lots of different shapes, and a lot of the shapes you're very familiar with. So hopefully this is a kind of review for you, and a lot of it'll kind of come flooding back the more we talk and use the terms. But that is what we're going to focus on today, is using these terms right here that we just talked about, that I am circling, to name and classify some different polygons. You're going to have a few practice problems tonight, and then you'll have some more when we get into class. We'll focus on not only using these terms, but maybe looking at things like a trapezoid and different terms that we can use to describe those polygons. All right? Thank you, boys and girls.